Patricia Landon Regal, Chief Little Flower, coming at you from the mercy, the safety, and the beloved sanctuary of my First Cousin Lord and her sponsor here in, we'll say North Carolina. That's where I'm saying right now. At the time of this recording, it is April 10th. 2024. So, how's it going, everybody? Oh my goodness. I kind of took a few days off. I kind of went through my electronic device and went perusing with my nostalgia to see all of the milestones I have conquered by looking up some of my other videos. And so I just love sharing them, you know, because it's only been a year in retrospect, but to me, all of it is kind of like 5 minutes ago, especially when that the Gestapo, the PSYOP, psychotic, what'd you call them? I mean, the list goes on and on. The list goes on and on. The deceitful, the liars, the psychos, the hate crime department of the PSYOP, psychotic assignment department, the fake as fuck people that, you know, I mean, come on now. I don't know where to start to begin to label any of you guys, because that part of the world, which basically, let's just say you guys just have hold out all of your liberties. You have found a way to compensate yourself for selling out your own integrity. I'm like, would you want somebody to come work for you that ain't got no integrity, that was there to psyop you sideways because they, you know, they're like, okay, tell me what to do, tell me how to hate, and I will hate whoever you want for the right price. It's kind of like being a prostitute with your clothes on. You know, it's just exactly as being a prostitute with your clothes on. So it's like, when I'm like this. With regards to prostitution, this is how my father taught me about it. The year was 1986, somewhere in there, okay? And the setting, if you will, was Hong Kong. And the age I was, probably 15. Yeah, I was 15. And then so my parents, if you are new to my story, hi, welcome. And if you guys remember that my ethnicity, my background is I am half Philippine. My mother was full-blooded Filipina. She was from Liloan, Cebu. It was the province of Liloan. She was from. Cebu was her village. There you go. I get that kind of backwards sometimes. I know, I get it backwards all the time. And then my dad, he's half my father being half Native American, Chippewa Indian. His mama was full-blooded. My cousin and I she is the child of my father's sister. Yeah, her mommy is my auntie. So, she's my first cousin. And she's a beautiful woman. Man, this one sexy woman. She is like half Lebanese and half and a quarter North American Chippewa Indian, and then a quarter Irish. So she we come by way of cousin through my paternal side. And yeah, I mean, she's one sexy woman. And then let's see here. Oh yeah, so my father, half Irish and half North American Chippewa Indian. And then so again, I mentioned that my parents were pen pals. That's how they met, through correspondence. And so whenever he had proposed to my mom was like, I'll see it when I believe it when I see it. So, I mean, I guess, she was open to the idea, but she never believed it, because my mom is more like a hands-on, like, very rational. I'll believe it when I see it. So whenever he actually showed up, it was, oh shit, he really is genuine about it. And then so my dad actually would used to send funds to my Lula, my Philippine grandmother back in the Philippines. So it's like nobody taught him how to do that. It was just, he had a very generous heart. No, don't get me wrong. My dad now, was flawed. We're all flawed. Nobody comes into this life and escapes it without being flawed. The question is, how willing were you to be accountable for your flaws? For instance, if you're running the psychotic psyop games with being all like, hate for hire, I'll just believe anything somebody says, and you haven't been accountable to your own moral aptitude, and you decided to run your dick into the ground that way, well, you're not very accountable to being corrected then, are you? So, it's a dance we do. Do I want to admit I'm wrong? Do I not want to admit I'm wrong? If I am wrong, well then shit, how do I go about fixing it? Because we're all allowed to be wrong. None of us are perfect. But are you just going to stand there and still bully somebody to death because you were trained by bullies and how to be a fucking goddamn bully? Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Nobody comes into this life without making mistakes. The line in the sand is, how willing are we to be corrected? How willing are we to be accountable? So, that's my dad. He was, he had a bunch of flaws, but he did the best of where he could. Okay. So, that's why God bless him. He did his best as far as I'm concerned, and I appreciate everything he done for me. And then but take me back to the year it's 1996. I was a ripe budding 15-year-old. And then so my mom and dad had planned a trip with me and my kid sister, Marcella Maria Landon, who is now Marcella Maria Landon Comiskey. She ended up marrying an Irishman. Go figure. I guess it was in the blood. And then so, well, that one duped her, and she was all about it, so whatever. Because like I mentioned, my brother-in-law, Liam Comiskey, man, he's a handler. He was sent to go, a handler, a honeypot. Yeah, he was sent by the opposition and so that's how he comes into her life. And his main objective was to cause dissension between me and Marcella, so whatever. It's giving you the background data on the characters pertinent to my timeline and my account to my story. And then so me and Marcy, she grew up with the nickname Honey Bunny. She was a brilliant kid. It was like her first year in softball, the game plan was get Honey Bunny the ball, and she got it. And MVP. She is one smart motherfucker. And so it runs in our family. But what we do with our smarts, That's a different story. Now, how Marcella decided to sell out her soul by coming sideways at people, I have no idea how she got herself into that, because we were raised by the same mother. You wouldn't catch me running fucking psychotic psyop games on somebody just to earn a buck. I have a precious soul. I have integrity. I'm not going to give it up for some fucking money. Whatever. Let alone to the same government that passed out the goddamn smallpox blankets to the Indians on the Oregon Trail of Tears. Fuck that. I'm Native American. I would never go make bread with the white man. I mean, you guys that are running the psyop circuit, y'all are bigots. I mean, just KKK, more power to you. You go do you, boo-boo. I'm talking to the ones here that can be reformed. Because it does say in the Bible, I set before you life and death. Choose life. I mean, it was an open book exam that your life is riding on. It even gave you the fucking, it gave you the right answer. You had the cheat sheet of all cheat sheets right in front of you. And if you couldn't choose life, well then motherfucker, what's the matter with you? Lying is choosing death. Your psyops assignments, that's choosing death. Your fake as fuck dialogues, that's choosing death. Your contrived situations, that's choosing death. I mean, if you're a Christian, that means your salvation has been compromised. It don't matter if an adult told you. It don't matter if a kid told you it was okay. Either way, at the end of the day, the only person you're going to have to make amends with is the Most High. That's if you have a love for him, because Satan never comes at you all big, bad, and grotesque. It comes bearing the juicy red apple. It says, here, how much money you want? I'll give you a fucking $1 if you can go over here and play psyop games on somebody. And I'll tell you whatever lies to get you to hate them. I mean, it's a hate crime psyop assignment. It's crimes against humanity. Hello? Wake up. But stay asleep if you want to. It's your own soul. You'll just end up getting sick all of a sudden for no reason. And then if you're like sexually active, you'll just end up getting a STD. I mean, HIV is the thing. And, you know, HIV comes into play with being the moral aptitude of what you gain from society. You run sideways game. I would watch out for getting HIV. Ask all them witches in all of these motherfucking covens. Because at the end of the day, your psyop assignment comes from covens, people. Covens. Covens. If you don't know what a coven is, I looked that up. C-O-V-E-N. Because where in the Bible did Jesus ever say, approach your brethren with deceit and psyop assignments filled with hate? I mean, come on now. I mean, if you are a witch and you are about the coven, more power to you, then this talk isn't for you. Just kindly check out exit door left. We got a gift basket for you. Thank you for coming, but you're not wanted because it's wasting your time. So at any rate, back to 1986. You know, because my dad, his moral aptitude was waxing and waning, okay? So whatever. But, so there was a layover between, we went Cathay Pacific. Yo, Cathay Pacific. I loved riding Cathay Pacific back in the day. Oh my God, it was so yummy. So, but at any rate, on our, trip over to the Philippines, we'd often have a layover in Hong Kong. It was just, probably still do it nowadays too. And then so it's like, okay, you go from Houston to, LA, and then from LA to Hawaii. You got a little layover there, and then from Hawaii to Hong Kong, and from Hong Kong to Manila, and then from Manila to the southern provinces, which is where my mom is from, which is where I have roots in. I'm a Cebuana Village Island girl at heart. Okay, half of me is, the better half. And then so on the way back to the States, when I was 15, we had a layover in Hong Kong. And so my mom and my kid sister, Honey Bunny, Marcella Maria Landon Comiskey, she must have been probably about 11 or 12 at the time. And so they both got sick. And so they decided to stay in the hotel. So I went with my dad, to go, peruse, go look around Hong Kong and stuff. So whenever we had sat down to dinner, lunch, whatever, it was a nice restaurant, fine dining. Sat down with my daddy, and then the waiter offered me a beer. I was like, it made me feel so violated when he offered me the beer, okay? And then so, I'm thirsty. Here's to my dad and my mom. Love you guys. And then so, I was like, shocked. I was like, no. And then so afterwards, my dad explained it to me. He said, there's a lot of families, a lot of poor families. And a lot of times women would go into prostitution to help support their families. And so what the waiter thought was that since, I'm 15 years old and my dad, for all intensive purposes, looked like a Caucasian guy. But if you look closer, you can see the prominent bone structure, like my daddy had hazel blue eyes. And he had all of his hair at every age until he passed. It was amazing. And my dad said that he always looked like he was a pretty boy. My dad was a pretty boy. And always looked young. So, go figure, he was A negative of his blood type. And my mom was B positive, but she always just looked young. And then so that's how my dad, my dad did very well raising me and my kid sister. He taught us how to be proper, and he really did well. It wasn't like he skirted any of his fatherly lessons at all. If I was sitting, down in a compromising, put in a compromised position, he'd be like, if I was a young man, I'd be seeing too much. And then he would direct me to sit down proper. It's just like sitting on a chair and I'm wearing shorts and I don't realize my shorts are a bit more risque than I realized because they were big and baggy, but when you sit down, you don't realize it. So my dad was very proper that way. Like I said, if chastity belts were in stock at Walmart, me and my kid sister would have 2 or 3 doubled up, okay? We were the proverbial multicultural family with for all intensive purposes, he was a white man, and my mom being full-blooded Filipino and Asian woman. And then so while he explained that to me back in Hong Kong about how, especially in the Philippines, people went into prostitution to help support their family. So, he addressed the awkward situation with the waiter back in Hong Kong with diligence and poise, and it was a good thing he did because he wasn't skirting the issue. I'm sure it was embarrassing to him, but he, addressed it. And then so, fast forward to all these years later, now that, we're in status post-COVID with all of these psychotic, hate crime, psyop assignment pigs that don't mind playing. It's like, okay, do anything for $1, hate somebody for $1, pretend somebody for $1 to pretend they're an actor when they're just getting exploited. Y'all are sick. Who threw out the dangling carrots, especially for the young folk? There's a special hell in for it. There's a special hell in it for all of you rotten, dirty handlers that are training up the bullies. You will be dealt with that by the very hand of the Most High. Especially exploiting the young people, the young generation's hopes, dreams, and aspirations just to exploit them. Either way, the hate crime psyop machine is nothing more than swine. If I were any of you, I would fix that and get out of it. So, but when it comes to prostitution, and I mean this with due diligence, okay, so we have the hate crime psyop assignment swine these days. When I say that the hate crime psyop assignments is the new prostitution, I mean that wholeheartedly. And in fact, that since it's the new prostitution, because you're holding up the liberties of your own integrity, you're finding a way to compensate your own moral aptitude. And once you give up your moral aptitude, who's going to want you to come work for them? I mean, if you want to have a successful relationship, who on earth's going to want to date anybody that has found a way to compensate the morality by getting blood coin, by running the psyop assignments? That's disgusting. That's swine. So when I look at prostitutes, I'm like, okay, for whatever reason somebody had gotten to prostitution, their crime is between them and their John. That's it. So if the John is the guy coming for, is paying for the sexual act of intercourse or whatever, so that's a one-on-one. That's the services, is that funds for services rendered. That's between them. But whenever you have somebody running the psyop game assignment, bitch, you're coming across somebody to betray them. So it's like you guys are okay, if prostitutes had a bad rap, you guys got an even worse rap because you guys are the psychotic prostitutes of hate crime psyop assignments. The people that you're running game on, they don't know that. I mean, unless, of course, you're well-versed like I am. I mean, okay, because I'm trying to help teach the other targeted individuals how to handle your bullshit. So, that's why my hat is off to the prostitutes, because at least, if you're against prostitution, their crime is one-on-one. Unless, of course, you're a harlot, a honeypot, and then you were paid to go, have sex with somebody and they don't know it, then that becomes a different thing. I mean, it just means that you're a hate crime psyop assignment, intercourse worker. But, it gives a whole revolution of being a prostitute, a new paradigm, a new understanding of what that is. So, okay, all of the sex workers of the United States that are doing it fair and square, service is good and for funds, you guys got to level up, okay? And I am acutely aware that not all of you go into it, to hurt people. I mean, unless, of course, you're passing around HIV and you just really didn't care and give two shits, and then it becomes a different story. Because I know very well that sometimes people go into it to put themselves into school, to put food on the table, to support a family. So, but whatever reason somebody goes into it, do it ethically. So I'm like, sex workers, my hat is off to you. If you're doing it from an ethical nature, not doing it, a sex worker was hired to come, bag that guy over there so they can get they can call him out as a cheater to his wife and videotape it and everything. I'm not talking about that. That's a psyop assignment. Those are psyop hate crimes. Now, when you look at the psyop hate crimes, y'all are the new prostitutes of the world that is less than the grub worm I grinded into the concrete on the bottom of my shoe. And, the ironic thing here is that a lot of you smell nice. A lot of you are probably rich. Oh, let me guess. From the psychotic hate crime assignments, because you prostituted your liberties, that you prostituted your integrity, that you prostituted your morality. thinking what? That you had every right to be dubious, thinking you had every right to be psychotic. I mean, come on now. You guys are more than... You're a step up from the grub worm, and you're hand in hand with all the swine. And what does the Bible say about swine? Don't cast your pearls before swine, for they'll just trample them. I mean, you guys don't even have a soul to yourselves anymore, and don't even know it. So, you know what? If you got off track, it doesn't have to be the end of the world unless you just decided to, because your games that you're playing with people's lives. Who gave you the right to play with people's lives? Oh, did Satan trick you? Tricked you real good? Do you feel good about your hate crimes? Do you feel real good about coming sideways at people? So you can get your holla for a dollar, bitch. You're no more than a fucking prostitute that's bent over wagging her little vagina in the air and say, give me sucky fucky for $2. What was your sucky fucky for? How much did you all get for running your goddamn swine of a hate crime assignments for your PSYOP bullshit? What was the price on that? Because you sold out your soul. I mean, because if I was running a business, first thing that I know, if you fucking were part of the goddamn slander circuit, running your hate crime PSYOP assignments, I know right there that the street prostitute has more clout than you do. But then the street clout prostitute has more savvy than you do because you don't even realize you're a fucking prostitute. And I've seen your parents, two of your kids, your high schooler kids, your junior high schoolers, and your fucking fifth grader. I've seen you do that at the library at Linwood and multiple libraries. And then you railroad your families into doing it. There will never be any moral aptitude that could ever account for coming sideways with lies and deceit and torture just so you can get a comeuppance. Because whatever you spend that blood money on, consider that a trap. Because if you were to go somewhere, say like the Caribbean and went on the cruise, that ship's going to sink. Or you just may get left behind on a fucking island whenever you go to do your pit stop. And then bye-bye you. I mean, these acts of God are going to take all of you out, because when I say there's about 1/3 of the populace acting the goddamn fool by running the psychotic PSYOP assignments, thinking what, y'all think it's funny to be the devil? I mean, what's hilarious is that you're tooled by the devil and you don't even realize that. Especially when you have grown-up adults encouraging you to do that. Because if they're encouraging you to do that, they're not operating in your best interest. And if you love that adult, I would have a talk with it. Because everybody makes mistakes. The question is, do you want to die making the mistake without even trying to fix it? That's what we're talking about. Because number one, if I never had this conversation with any of you, who would? Who would? I see through it all. And if you're comfortable making your sucky fucky for $2 by running your PSYOP games, well, that's on you. Then I feel sorry for you. What's even worse is that you were taught how to hoe out your integrity. You're not going to get anybody that's upright, that will give you the integrity in the relationship that you want. You have to be that to attract it. Because when in Rome, the other Romans lie, honey. If somebody sees you acting the fool, the deceitful, running the PSYOP games, how do you know you're not hanging out with anybody that will not do that to you for the right price? I mean, I wouldn't trust it. I mean, come on, witches. I mean, let's talk about these witches over here. You know, when you're in the gang stalking circuit, and gang stalking is your business and your bread and butter, how do you know that you're not going to choke on that bread and butter? How do you know you're not going to end up with an ST myocardial infarction? that sends you through the roof. I mean, instant widowmaker. Hello. I mean, you got to question these, because when you come by your dollar and you were sucky fucky for $2 for that fucking money because you were running the goddamn psyop circuit, assignment, hate crime psyops, that, you know, you had to go get your little handler training classes so they can teach the monkeys how to monkey. I mean, do you even realize you're a goddamn monkey? How can you fix being a monkey if nobody ever told you? I'd fix that if I were you. And, you know, wake up the other fucking monkeys. Because this is the name of the game, is sharing the light, sharing the salvation. Getting everybody to fucking wake up and snap out of it already. Because I reckon all that money must be really nice. But if you don't care on how you got it, how do you expect the Lord, the Most High, to care about what happens to you? I mean, because you're going to have to eat that karma brick for brick. I had to eat I had to eat your bullshit brick for brick, and I'm still having to eat the bullshit brick for brick. Call off your hellhounds, people. They should have stopped a long ass time ago, but they're still spinning their fucking wheels trying to get the goddamn blood coin. Buy those close to me. So whatever. And God forbid you are a government agent. Like, oh, I don't know, say working a prison system where you're supposed to be upright and honest, and God forbid you're a fucking nurse and you're getting your palms greased by big bread. The list goes on and on there. But at the end of the day, the new prostitutes of the world are your psyop, hate crime assignment swines. At least with the prostitute that has a bed counter on their mattress that's rendered services for funds. Next. You know, that's ethical. That's ethical. But when you're running game just to get your fucking sucky fucky for $2 for each psyop assignment, that makes you a prostitute of unethical means. What's worse than being a prostitute that sells her body for intercourse is a prostitute that's prostituting their morality, that's prostituting their integrity, that's prostituting their soul. Because if you don't think anything is wrong with that, there's something wrong with your head. There's something wrong with your soul. So wrong with your soul that if your body dies, you're not going to heaven, honey. You're getting sucked right into the lowest vibratory frequency throughout the dimension, throughout the continent, throughout the world, the galaxy, the cosmos. And Christians call it hell. You don't even have to believe in God to know that there are infinite possibilities of dimensions. That's a quantum fact. So by law of quantum facts, you get sucked into the vibratory frequency you put your body in at. And if you make somebody cry by doing those psyop assignments, the lower your soul goes. And when you make somebody commit suicide because of the psyop assignments that your swine murdering pedophiles taught you how to behave, your body goes even lower. We're talking about life and death for you. So think about it, America. I mean, just because a woman's got her clothes on and having a conversation doesn't mean she's not acting the goddamn prostitute. Buy sucky fucky $2 for each psyop assignment from the hate crime divisions. You know, the KKK kind that taught you how to be bigots, that taught you how to hate, that fed you the goddamn bullshit so you would hate somebody. Anybody in that whole industry is nothing but a two-faced liar. And if you believe the two-faced liar, that's your own damn fault. I mean, I'm looking at these divine counterparts to believe these witches that fed them bullshit on me. I'm like, oh my God, you suck as a human, honey. And more than that, you suck as a man that don't even have control over his own mind, let alone his wand over there. that believe secondhand information. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like I said, you do me a social service. Thank you for throwing out your pussy at anybody who might be fond of me or interested in me. All you did was weed out the weak. You can have the weak ones. The ones that survive your temptations, that's the kind of man I'm interested in. So thank you for weeding them out. But yeah, prostitution is a state of existence. It's a state of selling out yourself. But if you're going to prostitute, do it on an ethical basis. Otherwise, you're going to lose more than your panties, honey. So it's been Patricia Amanda Regali coming at you from, let's call it North Carolina. That's where I say I am. For all we know, I could still be somewhere in Washington. And why would I tell anybody? Seriously. And speaking of which, there's been no orders placed, no orders received from my replacement list. That was a community service. I mean, it's like, okay, I'll make another video on, I have a coinciding incident to relate on this honey pot that was sent to me, by the name of Scotty. You're DL. You've been working with, collaborating with Dick Tracy #1 and Mr. Dragon #2. I mean, et cetera, et cetera. Y'all are busted. Yeah, and then there's the honey pot. He would have done anything to try to usurp me. I'm all like, first off, I have self-respect. Second off, your vibe, man, just gave it away. So whenever, he's a prostitute too, of the unsavory kind, by hoeing out his ethics. For all I know, he has probably sold out his soul to demons straight up. He said he was the chosen one. Get out of here, Scotty. Whatever. But don't worry, I'll never sell out your online presence. Nobody here knows you. And you shouldn't have been gossiping about me if people know that. If people know the interchange between you and I. You should have been an upright man of ethics and morality by not gossiping about me. Uh-oh. So yes, Scotty, you tried to beam up the wrong woman. Nonetheless, my saga as a heavily targeted woman continues. Call off your hellhounds, people. The longer that they're in play, the harder your karma's going to come bite you in the ass. But if y'all are about the anal play, more power to you. I think it's sexy. But not when it's karma coming to gun for you, sodomite. You won't like that. Peace out. Bye. For now.